For the first time in this goofy little series history, we're getting the perspective of a man talking to a woman here. This time, we're going Freaky Friday mode. We're switching bodies here, so we're on the perspective of a man who has just matched with a woman from Tinder. They've been talking for a little while, and it leads to this. I'm jealous, I want ribeye. I'm assuming they were talking about ribeye. I'm quite the detective, I know. I just have a hunch that that's what the conversation was about. She then continues, lol, I'm glad you liked that. To which he says, I would happily cook for you. What's your favorite food? Oh, you will? I love baking, so maybe I'll bake you a cake or some bread, lol. I love steak, rare or medium rare. I love that idea. When can we make this happen? What a great start. I dare say these two are soulmates. This is wholesome, the exchange is going super well. Looks like they're about to set up a date to cook together or bake together. How could it possibly go awry? The good vibes continue. I'm not sure. You haven't asked me on a proper date yet. To which he says, what are you up to tomorrow evening? This is already looking like something out of a Hallmark movie. This is super efficient, super, great all around. She says, I'm pretty sure my family is stopping by because my sister's in town, but I'm not completely sure. What about you? I see. I've got nothing tomorrow evening. I'd like to schedule said date with you, but I also need to maneuver around holiday busyness. Do you have availability 12/26? And she says, I'm off all next week. The 26th would be perfect, with 2 blushing, smiling emojis. And I'm just sitting here, smiling, blushing, reading this story. Got me cheesing, it's so happy and wholesome. I also find it cute that in order to schedule the date, he conducted it like it was some kind of business meeting, penciling her in and locking it down. The whole thing is just adorable. So how could it possibly end up in the shitter? What went wrong? Well, let's take a peek. Beautiful. It's a date. Would you be comfortable coming to my loft in blank and we can cook? I have a cat here too, she's lovely. To which she responds, no, I'm sorry, I don't do apartment dates for first dates. That literally made me so disappointed that you said that as a suggestion. I'm going to cut this loose. I hope you have a good Christmas and good New Year. Wish you the best. To which he says, all good? That's a totally understandable position from the woman here. Not going to a stranger's apartment for the first date is probably the safest decision you can make, so there's nothing wrong with setting a hard line in the sand like, hey, I don't really go to people's apartments for the first time meeting them. That kind of decision probably keeps you alive. You might end up at like a fucking serial killer's place. You go over there for medium rare steak, and you end up the steak. Turns out your Tinder date is Armin Meaves or something from Cannibal Cafe. So there's nothing wrong with her not wanting to go there for the first date. But she immediately jumps to being like, all right, we're done here. I'm so disappointed you even suggested it. Even though they were talking about cooking and baking together. It's not like he just pulled this out of his ass like a nefarious plot where he was rubbing his hands together and came up with this scheme. They were talking about cooking and baking together. How are you supposed to do that together outside of a household or an apartment or something? There's really no way to do that, so it should be pretty obvious why he suggested it. And he wasn't pressuring her into it. He even said, if you're comfortable, here's an option I think would be fun, since we've been talking about cooking and baking. He wasn't like poking her or trying to bribe her into coming over there and set a trap or anything. He was just putting the offer out there. So I feel like a less aggressive response from her would have been something more along the lines of, hey, politely, I'd like to decline that. Don't feel comfortable going to your place for our first time meeting. And according to the comment section, he planned on offering an alternative because he understood why she wouldn't want to do that. But then things really start to pop off before he had the chance. So he says, I hope you have a great Christmas as well. To which she responds, Jdi du perdele zatratse. I'm 100% sure I butchered the pronunciation on that, but I popped it in a Google Translate here, and it translates to go to hell, get lost. And I decided to investigate further, damn near having to revive Babelfish to try and get like another translation, because that just sounded so incomprehensibly mean after all of this. But the other translation that I keep seeing for it is basically, fuck you. Which just doesn't make any sense to me, because the guy was just following the conversation they were having. They were both saying like, yeah, let's cook together. And then she even suggested baking, like, yeah, let's bake together. So he's like, all right, bet, let's do it. Let's cook and bake together. And then she just goes, fuck you, scumbag, get lost. So he tries to explain himself. He goes, for the record, it just seemed like a logical next step in the conversation because we were talking about cooking together. Sorry to offend or disappoint you, ma'am. And she just goes, go fuck yourself, dude. This time, plain English. So that one I understood. And then he just says, very weird response in my opinion. And then she unleashes the demon here. She lets Hulkmania run wild. You know exactly why you fucking invited me to your loft. And it wasn't for cooking. Don't text me ever again, blocked. And then he just goes, we met on Tinder, remember? Wish you the best in getting a date. I'll be warning all 30,000 women in blank about you. Now you're blocked. And he's just like, well, actually, wiggling his finger, blank has a population of 6.47 million, about half of which would be women. Warning 30,000 people about anything is an extremely tall order. You don't even get 30,000 people that heed hurricane warnings in Florida. If she's somehow able to send up the bat signal here to warn all 30,000 women in that immediate area about this guy, hats off to her. That's an incredible achievement, and she should use that power for good instead of evil. This guy didn't do anything wrong. He's clearly starting to take the piss here a little bit and just play around with it with that population remark. But I almost don't blame him because this is such an unbelievably hostile response to something that wasn't ever really meant in a disrespectful way, at least not from what I can see. She just immediately jumped to the conclusion that this guy is only looking to have sex with her. He's not actually inviting her over to cook. He is inviting her over to his place just for some coitus. There would be no steak being prepared. The only thing being steamed in that apartment would be ham. Steamed ham. I'm referring to them fucking. Like, that's such a stupid way of saying it. Mashing pissers, whatever have you. So she just believed that this guy was some huge asshole and was only using cooking as some kind of Trojan horse to get her over, but his true intentions were for a little bedroom rodeo action and nothing more. When really, to me, it really seems like they were talking about cooking and baking together. They were both on the same page. So when the idea of a date came up, which she proposed, the logical conclusion you draw is, hey, we've been talking about cooking and baking together, let's do that for our date. Like, it doesn't really seem like there was any kind of malicious intent behind it, and he never really had a chance to offer an alternative because she immediately just shut the whole thing down, which she has every right to do. There's nothing wrong with that, but it does seem like he wasn't trying to just be some douchebag or whatever. Like, it seemed like he was just offering a date that they had been talking about as a mutual interest. I'm sure he probably would have offered an alternative since she wasn't comfortable coming over to his place. He continues to just get a little sarcastic about things. He goes, please warn them about how a guy from Tinder invited you over to cook the day after Christmas. To which she says, dude, I'm in multiple groups totaling over 500,000. With your face, LMAO, you won't be getting no play unless you pay. Good riddance, roach. Honestly starting to sound like the Navy SEALs copy pasta. I've got over 500 confirmed blocks, and I will have your face plastered in the papers for 500,000 people to see. I'm part of every goddamn Facebook group on the East Coast, and they'll all know your name, villain. He just says, lol, roach. She continues, and I will! 2 exclamation points. It's like she's giving like a big speech in front of an auditorium. I'll let them know you tried to fucking invite me to your pathetic-ass apartment for an easy lay masquerade as a cooking date. Yeah, we aren't stupid. Even your fucking hairline ran from you. Now sit back and enjoy being alone. And he just goes, I hope you find peace and love. Yeah, I mean, what else can you do except pray for happiness for her? Like, this went south so quick out of nowhere, and I don't think it needed to. They could have just said, like, not comfortable, are you open to anything else? And if he tried to be pushy about it, like, no, you have to come to my apartment, then all of this is a totally reasonable thing to say. Like, no, you clearly just want to fuck, get out of here, get lost, scram, Buster, you know, hit the road, take a hike. But she didn't even get that far. She immediately just jumped to this assumption that this guy is a piece of shit and he needs to go to hell and get lost. And now apparently she's going around putting up wanted posters like it's One Piece with a 5 billion berry bounty on this guy's head, all because he had the gall to invite her over for a cooking date that both of them were discussing together. I just don't really know how she'd even frame this as a bad guy to her 500,000 person group that she's a part of. I don't even know what group that would be. That's like a wildly large group to be a part of, and I can't imagine she has like a power position there where she can put out an APB on this guy or something. But even still, I don't really know how you could even spin this guy as a horrible person. But yeah, anyway, just wanted to cover this one. This one's different from the norm that we usually go over here, so that's really about it. See ya. Hello, and welcome back to Weirdos in the Wild. The best way to start your morning is with a big frown on your face, so get ready to wear that with pride. We've got some really interesting specimen here today, so let's go ahead and take a peek at our first one. Our first journey begins with a cold call here like a telemarketer. This guy reaches out saying, hey, remember me? And get used to seeing me spelled that way, because he only speaks about himself as if he's talking through the we, me channel from back in the day. And she responds by saying, hey, I think so, from blank, which is middle school. So they knew each other in middle school, and I'm assuming it's been quite some time since then, because then a couple months later he reaches out again saying, hey, you have kids yet? It's already off to an odd start. They're clearly into their adult years here, and this guy's thinking about her from middle school, and then reaches out a couple months after making initial contact just to ask if she has kids currently. And it only gets more strange from here. She responds saying, hey, I don't have kids yet, why do you ask? He goes, just asking, you have a boyfriend? I do have a boyfriend. Do you have a girlfriend? Can I tell you something? And that's how you know this is about to go straight into the shitter here. That question, can I tell you something, always seems to precede the most foul thing you'll ever hear in your life. I've read so many of these texts and watched so many bad romance videos recently that this is one of the more concerning questions you can be asked. Can I tell you something? Or some variation of it. I'll also just never understand the purpose of typing something like that. Just fucking spit it out. Say it with your whole chest here. What's the point in acting like some kind of shy anime girl? Oh, can I tell you something? Like, what's the response going to be to that? No? You've made it impossible for someone to shoot that down, because then the conversation immediately gets hostile. So everyone has to say, like, yeah, I guess you can tell me something. So just do it. Rip the band-aid off. You're going to say something ridiculous anyway. Just say it without asking for permission, because we all know you're just going to fucking blabber about it anyway. She says, yeah, what's up? However, even if she declines saying, no, you can't tell me anything, leave me alone, bozo, it wouldn't have stopped this maniac. He goes, no grill frimmed. So I believe he has entered this, like, flow state of horniness, and it's clouding his vision, so he can't type properly. When we was in middle school, I wanted, period, to do this to you. And accidentally drops, like, a fucking hyperlink here. Do what? Like, when you were in skirt, I want to make you mine. Hope you don't get mad. What an outrageous creep. Hey, was just thinking about you in middle school, and how in middle school I wanted to make you mine. Don't get mad at me, tee-hee. Clearly caught off guard and uncomfortable, she goes, oh, it was a long time ago, no reason to get mad. And I think this emboldens him, because she says, there's no reason to get mad. So he starts rubbing his hands together. Oh, okay. And then he sends a message that he deletes. He unsends it. So there was something so bad there that even this shameless sack of cringe was like, ooh, no, that's too far. I'm using my mulligan. So he unsends it. But the original poster here, she apparently saw it and said that the message he unsent was saying that he wanted to pull down her panties and put his fingers inside of her. And then he goes, if I were to do this to you, what, you let me? The way he talks is so frustrating. It's so broken and disjointed. It's like communicating with Dobby if Dobby was hitting whippets. Clearly, she declined such a generous offer, saying, no, I have a boyfriend. I mean, back in middle school, I wasn't interested in dating or sexual activity when I was in middle school. I wanted you really bad. Oh, okay. Gets him with the Eeyore really sad. Oh, okay. This is the craziest red flag conversation ever. This should be like a self-report straight to the authorities. This man is like dangerous, it seems. Perhaps that hyperlink he accidentally dropped in the beginning was a link to the sex offenders registry with his name and face on it. This is an adult man who's fantasizing about middle school. He's not even saying like, hey, I used to know you back then and had a crush on you. He is literally fantasizing about her in middle school and him wanting to finger her. That's concerning. And that's when all hell breaks loose. The mask fully comes off, the dam breaks, and he unleashes the demon. She says, I'm a bit confused as to why you're telling me this now, because obviously anyone would be confused getting this shit out of the blue. It's really creepy. And then he goes, 'cause dear. Oh, it's already such an awful fucking start. Dropping dear like this, it gives me the heebie-jeebies. In those days, I want to pull down your panties. Not even a little bit, dear. Or excuse me, not even a little bite, dear. You there, lol? Can I ask you a personal question? When you were in middle school, you there? He is so fixated on middle school in particular. That's the big thing for him here. And he keeps talking about pulling her panties down. It's so unhinged. You there? He keeps checking to make sure there's a pulse here, that she hasn't abandoned him and called the police or something. Can I tell you something that I want to do to you in middle school? Or you mad at me, Lou, lol. If you didn't have a boyfriend, you let me do things to you? You there? Surprisingly, she was still there and hadn't blocked him yet. So she says, no, because I'm not interested, I don't really know you at all. Somehow, she was able to resist his charm. I can't believe Casanova's silver tongue here was powerless against her. He says, I know, lol. Also, it's a bit weird that you're talking about a 12 to 13-year-old me and still being sexual about it. Exactly. It's so fucking weird. And then he just goes, hope you not mad at me for this things. And she says, please don't contact me again. The vibe I get from this guy is Freaky Fred from Courage the Cowardly Dog. Just reading what he keeps saying to her is so unnerving because he's talking about a middle school version of her. He's trying out that sexual predator riz here, I guess, and it did not work at all. I'm gonna bless you with a little bonus one here. Let me show you how not to flirt with someone you're interested in romantically. So it seems like they were talking a little bit before these screenshots were taken. He says, you play video games? Like, other than Candy Crush and Pokemon. And she goes, yep, what gave it away? Cool. Not many chicks that are, like, into real games. This is just your classic flop from a Redditor gamer, bro. Ugh, girls only like Candy Crush or Pokemon, fucking Sims or Barbie Jeep Racing. They don't like real games like me, a fucking man. Call of Duty, Battlefield, BioShock, big rigs over the road racing, Madden 24. But you're different, m'lady. You're not one of those normal chicks that likes those fake games. You can appreciate these gems that I like. Most chicks can't do that. I don't know why. Must be periods and pheromones or something, but you are rare, m'lady. You like real games. Like, I just don't know why anyone would try something like this. It's just immediately confrontational. It makes you look like a whack loser. And everyone knows it too, so she calls that out saying, really? Gonna try that one? Because it's so pathetic. And he goes, what? It was a compliment. And she just says, whatever. And then that really sets him off. So, a guy who you are already desired to be intimate with gives you a compliment, you get bitchy, and then he doesn't get a response, obviously, and then it comes back later saying, are you ignoring me now? She said, you live in a different country than me. But the fact that he immediately just gets this out of control, like, what? It was a compliment, what? Most girls are stupid. Girls go to Jupiter to get more stupider. You didn't go to Jupiter. You stayed here with me, playing real games. Why are you getting so bitchy about it? I was being nice to you. Oh my goodness, nice guys never win. And now you're ignoring me? Oh god. He also just types like a Redditor, like his response being, why? A guy who you already desired to be intimate with shows you a little affection and gives you a little compliment and you get bitchy? Like, that is the actual quintessential Redditor response right there. Just go full Poindexter on it. A man who you had already desired to be intimate with gives you a compliment. Then the whole conversation goes cattywampus and he decides to bring out the claws and just get mean. You're a fucking cosplay girl. It's not like it's real work. You get paid to be hot for people. And then she just goes, yeah, it's not gonna work. Don't text me back. Goodbye. Totally reasonable response. This guy's just immediately shitting on her for nothing she did wrong. She's done nothing wrong at all. This guy's just a loose cannon. Women like you are always so sensitive. I'm just being honest about things. If you can't handle that, I don't think you intellectually compatible with me. Oh, all the Reddit check marks are being ticked right now. I'm very sorry that you feel like I was being mean or sexist or whatever, but I wasn't. I hope you learn to be less bitchy. Men don't like that in women. And you're already past your good years. And they say chivalry is dead. That's how you do it, gentlemen. excellent work here, and I have no doubt they're getting married soon. So he blames her for everything that went wrong. He seems to think she was being unreasonable and that he was just being honest, which is crazy. It's so sad how a conversation can go from seemingly normal to just being extremely combative because this guy is very insecure, I guess, about his video game taste or something. I have no idea. But he brings up video games in a hostile manner, saying like, oh, most girls don't play real games, but I guess you're not like most stupid girls. Like, I don't know why he can't see how no one would ever respond positively to that. And when she didn't respond positively to it, he immediately says that she's being bitchy. Just the slightest sign of her not really feeling what you just said there, and he just gets aggressive, and then gets even more mean and rude and nasty, and then still probably walks away from this thinking it was her fault. It's craziness. So he'll probably stay alone for most of his life, but luckily he's got so many great games to play by himself. So there's a silver lining there. At least he's a real gamer with those real games by his side. That's really about it. So yeah. Over the last couple of months, I've analyzed more text messages than the FBI. I have been glued to bad romance and flirting like a moth to a flame. I've been wandering the deepest, darkest pits of filth. It's like in Space Jam when Michael Jordan gets sucked into the golfing hole. I've been sucked into the asshole of the internet, and all I see is cringe down here. But today there's a new ingredient being added to this concoction. The recipe had a chemical X. Crime. This got posted to Reddit earlier today, and a lot of people sent it my way, and it actually reminded me of a real criminal case that happened back in 2022, and I actually found the case again through the comment section of this post, because I couldn't quite recall all the particulars of it, but there is a lot of similarities shared between that criminal case in 2022 and these text messages that this individual is showcasing here. So it starts with this girl's coworker messaging her out of the blue saying, "Hey." He receives crickets, no response, silence. And you know what they say, if at first you don't succeed, try being weirder. So he comes back around within 3 hours saying, "Hello? Is this blank?" She says, "Who is this?" And he goes, It's me," with a smiley face. "I just wanted to text you and see how things were." "Oh, things are going alright, I suppose. Not to come off as rude, but how did you get my number, dude? I mean, I don't mind you texting me, but I've never gave it to you." And that's when he lifts up the curtain and breaks the magician's code, revealing his secret method. "I just grabbed it off the contact sheet in the office room. Hope that's alright." To which she says nothing in response because that is fucking creepy. She never gave him her number. He just went out of his way to find it from their workplace. Yucky. But he comes back around saying, "How's it going?" And he just keeps going, throwing questions at the wind here, hoping to receive even the slightest semblance of life on the other side, not realizing that he has already scared her by snooping around tracking down her phone number without ever getting it from her directly. So it's already super creepy to do that. So he says, "How was your New Year's?" No response. 2 days later. "Sorry to keep texting, but what are you up to today? If you're free later, I'd love to go out." I will never understand that kind of shit right there. How can you be so deluded and lost in your own little fantasy land Narnia that you think there's even an iota of a chance that she agrees to go out with you when she has ignored your messages for 4 fucking days? Like, what is the thought process? Scratching at his chin. Maybe she's playing hard to get. Perhaps she's just been truly swamped and has been really wanting to reply to me but just might be a bit shy and doesn't know how. I know. I'll go ahead and invite her out with me. That should make her a lot more comfortable. And he goes a bit deeper. "I know you're probably busy, but I could pick you up too, so you wouldn't have to take the bus anywhere. If you wanted to go out, that is. Sorry to keep texting, but I don't want to be out too late, so I'd appreciate a response at some point, smiley. I'm heading out to get coffee now, so if you want to join me, just let me know." "Ma'am, you better hurry. The choo-choo train is leaving and Mr. Perfect is going with it. You only have one opportunity to get coffee with a gentle sir like this, so you really gotta play your cards right." She declines, saying, "I would appreciate it if you didn't text me unless it's work-related. I don't really know you, and I'm only blank. You're 5 years older than me, dude. This just feels creepy." "I didn't mean to be creepy or anything. You're just pretty, and I thought it would be cool if we got to hang out, smiley." "No thanks. That's honestly so weird, and if you continue to ask, I'm going to talk to Lean about this." I'm assuming that's like their supervisor or someone higher up at the place they work. And then he goes in deep. He says, "I'm not gonna lie. I've been thinking about you a lot, and I just want you to spend time with me. What you said the other day just felt rude. At least try and give this a chance. I know you're probably not awake, but I've been up all night thinking about you. Not going to lie, sometimes I like to take pictures of your ass while you're in the drive-thru window and I jerk off to them in the bathroom." I'll go ahead and take a courtesy pause here to give everyone a brief respite and let that nugget marinate in this sauce here, because he just dropped a real heavy, spicy meatball on the plate. And when I first read it, I certainly wasn't ready for that, because that's just openly admitting to a crime. I'm not a sheriff or anything, but I'm pretty confident that that's illegal. He'd probably be taken away in handcuffs if this information got out. Which it should. She should absolutely report all of this. Now, somehow it actually only gets worse from here. This is just the beginning. He's showing his true face, and man oh man, is it an extraordinarily ugly one. I know that's messed up, but imagine if we fucked in the work bathroom, or if we went out in public. I honestly just love the idea of having a little helpless bitch under my control. I know you're so much younger, but you should give it a shot. Older men can be so much fun to be with. No one at work would have to know. Hello? Sorry for calling, but I'm really lonely and you haven't replied to me at all. Since the text messages are going unanswered, I guess he's resorted to actually just calling her, which is also being ignored, obviously, because that's the safest thing you can do is ignore it. So I can't believe the revelation that it turns out he's lonely. Who would have seen that coming? With smooth talking like this dude's got all the game in the world. This man's a fucking apex predator, a grizzly bear. A champion of Riz here. I can't believe that he, of all people, would somehow be lonely. What a curveball. He then tries to brush all that under the rug, trying to apologize for it. Sorry about last night. I got carried away. I know you're probably not even reading these, but I hope you have a good day, Smiley. I'll be thinking of you. I really don't see an issue. It's not like a romantic date or anything. It would just be getting coffee and food. And if you were in the mood, we could always go to my place to watch a movie. I know it sounds creepy, but why not just get out and enjoy the day together? What in the hell is even that? What are you talking about? It's not like a romantic thing or anything. You were just talking about fucking in the workplace bathroom. And then you were talking about having a helpless bitch under your control. What do you mean it's just coffee? You're already showing how extraordinarily creepy and perverse you are. What are you yapping about? He's blabbermouthing about a bunch of hooey. And that's when she finally does respond to all this and says, "Alright man, I'm probably going to report you to the police. You know damn well that I'm underage and you're texting me in the middle of the night like that. Fuck off." And then he drops her address and says, "If you continue to ignore me, I'll just make it so you can't. If you tell anyone, I'll make this even worse for you." So it turns out she's underage, and he was well aware of that fact. And he also would have been even more aware of that fact, considering he snooped through the confidential workplace documents to find her address and her phone number. So it would have been abundantly clear that she is underage, and he didn't care. He still went for this full throttle. So he's also a pedophile on top of all of this. Now he concludes their conversation by dropping her address to obviously try and scare her, letting her know that he knows where she lives and he can always pay her a visit. And a lot of people in the comments, and I think a lot of people in general, would assume that that's just supposed to be like some kind of scare tactic to get her to not say anything. Not necessarily that he's going over there right this instant to do something, but that is still a legitimate threat, and I imagine an actionable threat that the authorities can use. This is one of those situations that really shouldn't be taken lightly, and it seems like it isn't. It seems like she's taken the proper measures here, like contacting authorities or contacting workplace staff and all that, which is what she should be doing, because this is just legitimately dangerous. I mentioned at the start that it reminded me of a case from 2022, where a man killed his 17-year-old coworker because he had a huge crush on her, and since he couldn't have her, nobody could. Her name was Riley Whitelaw, and she was murdered at her place of work by this individual. He recently got sentenced in October of 2023 for the murder, and it is just horrifying. Now, Riley had previously made a complaint to the employment about how uncomfortable he made her with like the advances that he would make on her and all of that, and even asked to like have her schedule changed so they wouldn't have to work together. And despite all of that, they still worked together. The place of employment did not change her schedule around to get her away from him or anything like that. They continued to work together despite all of her complaints until it eventually culminated with him killing her. It's a tragic story. Fucking horrifying. And it reminds me of the text messages we just read right there, where a coworker becomes infatuated with someone and then eventually does something disgusting like that. So reading through these text messages, it is a concerning individual in a scary situation. And it's something I think about from time to time about how awful it must be to just be doing your job, doing nothing wrong at all, and then still ending up in a situation like this. This girl never made any advances toward this guy. She never even gave him her number or anything at all. And yet somehow he still became obsessed with her and then stalked her company documents to find her phone number and her address and all of that. It's just so awful. She's literally just doing her job and then gets put in a situation like this because of this absolute lunatic. So yeah, just wanted to talk about it a little bit. I think situations like these should always be taken seriously. Like if a coworker or anyone for that matter starts to get like a level of obsession with you that it becomes a bit palpable, that you can start to see it, it immediately needs to be something that you take very seriously because you never know where it could lead. And I think that is just always something that needs to be handled with real care. So just wanted to go over this a little bit. That's really it. So yeah. The specimen I'm about to expose you to is extraordinarily cringe, like this SCP weirdo that I'm about to unleash before your eyes. But I want you to take this as an inspirational motivator because somehow this goober was able to get into a serious relationship for the last 7 months. And if he can do it, anybody can. Alright, now let's begin our journey. This is a 26-year-old woman communicating with her 29-year-old boyfriend. Now, the previous night they had an argument, which we'll get into in a moment because it's crucial to the lore here of what unfolds. Now, this is the next day. She says, "Had some honey chicken with rice and broccoli from blank. How about you?" He responds with a Naruto gif, which is already an incredible start here, and goes, "That sounds good. I had a muffin and cheese, lol, by the way. The call yesterday really sucked, but the New Year's Eve call was very nice." She says, "I know, lol." And then for some reason he decides to pour salt in the wound. He just digs the knife a little deeper, letting her know that it was probably the worst call he's had, lol. To which she responds, "Alrighty. Well, that makes me feel great. I'm heading to bed. Love you, good night." For some reason he thought it was a good idea just to remind her how much he disliked talking to her last night about what they were discussing. Oh man, that call last night, that was the pits. Jesus Christ, am I right, you fucking harpy? Last night's call was horrible. The New Year's Eve call was a little bit better, but goodness gracious, heavens to Betsy, the call before that, fucking atrocious. And then he'll probably drop another Naruto gif. This time it's like an Itachi one casting a genjutsu. Don't ever do it again. But anyway, the argument they had on the call before these text messages was about her mentioning that she might want to try shrooms at some point. It was basically talking about drugs and how she's not interested in drugs, but the only one she has even an iota of interest in trying is shrooms like one time. And he took a very hard stance against that. Like it was like he was a fucking DEA agent here. I'll drop the information right here if you want to pause and read it, but the gist of it is she mentioned that shrooms at least sounded somewhat interesting to try at some point, though she was never really being serious about it, and if she ever did want to try it, she said that she would talk to him about it first before doing anything. It wasn't going anywhere, and eventually she just said, "You're right, I'm wrong, sorry," and tried to move on from the whole conversation. But it looks like that was never in the cards. It's weighed heavy on the mind of her boyfriend, who brings it up out of the blue again, just to remind her how awful the conversation was. In the follow-up message, he decides to just go whole hog and let it all hang out here to just reignite this argument. He says, "Yes, I say wrong stuff to you sometimes. I know I make mistakes, but not this time. I stand by what I said yesterday, and this time you were in the wrong. But I'm heading to bed. I love you. Good night." And she reminds him, like, "Hey, we fully discussed this last night. There was no reason to bring it up again except to attempt to make me feel bad. Just because you're in a bad mood doesn't mean you should try to bring me down with you." She's 100% right. They had already discussed it. There is no reason to keep doing this again, this song and dance. Just let it be. But he just can't do that. "I know, but this is serious shit." And then he censors the word shit. He puts stars on his swear word like he's a 12-year-old in Twitch chat that has the language filter on. This is a 29-year-old man who is censoring the word shit. And we've only just begun with the exceptionally wacky stylings of this 29-year-old fucking goober. If you use any substitute, I am done with you. And I'm sorry I say this because I care about you too much, and you're much worth more. And you're much worth more. I don't, that's all over the place. I think he was just so angry. I mean, he dropped the word shit. You could tell his temper was flaring up. He used a naughty word. So I think he was just scrambling to say words in a panic. And then she just goes, I'm not talking about this. It's fine if you don't have the mouth of a sailor, but why censor it? Just don't even use the word. You could have said poop. This is some serious poop, milady. You're talking about drugs. Unacceptable. Why even bother censoring yourself? Oh, it's so cringe. And we've only just begun. She says there's no reason to go over this again. We talked about it. It's over. Drop it. Really just trying her best to move on from this because it's only going to get worse. But he's already too deep. He's already made his bed and it's time to piss his pants in it. Okay, but promised me you won't do it and I will drop the whole thing. She again reminds him, I already fucking told you I wouldn't do anything without talking to you first. Leave it alone. I'm done with this conversation. But it's just not registering in his mind. His neurons are just firing and he's going into flight or fight mode and he's fighting his own demons here. Don't get angry at me just because you had a drug problem in past. That's not my problem. That's your problem. Which is a crazy fucking thing to say to your significant other. Jesus. And she goes, bro, you're being dense right now. Just shut up and leave it alone. This isn't a conversation to be had over text, and we already talked about it on the phone. Just drop it, dude. Now, if you pause to read the explanation for the context around these messages, you'll know that the drug problem he's referring to is her smoking weed when she was 19, and the one time she tried cocaine. That's the drug problem to this guy. He speaks as if he's like a 14-year-old boy who just had a class on Dare, and now he is scared. He can't sleep anymore. He has to go to bed with one eye open and Narcan on the dresser next to him, just in case a burglar comes in and tries to force him to OD on drugs. Like drugs are out to get him and everyone he cares about. And he just keeps spiraling. You have to change that blank. He's literally beeping himself with a sensor. You have to change that beep, stupid attitude. And I'm not your beep, bro. And I'm not your beep, dude. Maybe that's why wow, that's hard to read. The grammatical catastrophe that he's unleashed upon my eyes is really fucking with my brain. I'm not your beep, dude. Maybe that's what you'll call your beep friends. I don't give a beep. I'm not your beep friend. I'm not your beep. X's beep. Remember that. Like, what in the world is happening? This is the most childish text message I've ever seen in my life. It's like a kid melting down on League of Legends. This is a 29-year-old man. And he's speaking like this. He's a fucking boy. He's a baby boy. Why is he censoring his texts like this? Oh, it's so awful. It's so bad. I can't even parse what he's trying to say with his last statement there at the end. I'm not your fucking friend, which is, again, a wild thing to say to your significant other. You're supposed to be their best friend, basically. That's the whole point of being in the relationship, but whatever. But this is where it gets extraordinarily confusing. And I'm not your fucking ex's blank. Remember that. Your ex's what? Your ex's fuck? Remember that? Is that what he's saying? I don't know. What does that mean? And she says, I don't know what your problem is, but directing at me is not going to help. I'm not talking about this. I'm done responding for the night. Have a good one. And he just goes, we done. If you keep going. So full-blown caveman mode now. I will drop it now. Anyway, how's your day? From all of this into like immediately de-aggroing like an NPC in a video game. And he's like, oh, so how's your day? Did you have a good day today? I bet you did. I bet it's better now that you're talking to me, right? And then her response is, it was better before you started this. And then that once again sends him off. Well, that's your problem. I just don't want to crackhead girlfriend, and please don't call me bro. I'm not your stupid friends. What the crackhead girlfriend? What are you talking about? She mentioned that the only drug she'd be interested in trying is shrooms, and she wouldn't even actually do it because she doesn't have a real interest. That's just the only one that even sounded somewhat appealing. He's lost his marbles. He's off his gourd for this. And eventually she's like, just go to bed. You need a nap. You're not you when you're tired. And then he hits her with like a threat. It'll be really funny when you're 6 feet under. And she goes, oh boy, here we go again. And he says, anyway, enough of this. Now, I think he's referring to, if you try drugs, you're dead instantly. You'll instantly die if a drug touches your body. It'll put you 6 feet under instantaneously. Like, I don't know if he's actually threatening that he'll put her 6 feet under, but that is kind of how it reads. But I think what he's trying to say is that the drugs are going to kill her, and he's the only one that can save her from going down this destructive path. Now, obviously, and here's a hot take, drugs aren't good for you. But what he's doing here is an outrageous overreaction, and the way he's treating his girlfriend is unacceptable. He's just yelling and screaming at her like it's an episode of fucking Scared Straight. All over her, going over a hypothetical of if she was to ever try a drug, she'd want it to be shrooms because that's the only one that sounds even somewhat interesting, but she doesn't even want to do it. She's not saying she's going to go do shrooms or anything like that. She's not going down this path to being a crackhead like he thinks she is. This is just ridiculous the way he's treating her over this. And don't even get me started on his potty mouth, all those nasty words he's been using here. But luckily for all of us, he's tastefully censored all of them for us. Clearly don't respect me, you think I'm a joke when I'm saying the truth. I wish just once you just listen to me. I think you're a joke, buddy. I'll say it. She won't, but I will. I think you are fucking cringe incarnate. She says, I'm listening. I'm just tired of you repeating it over and over when this whole thing was finished last night. Of course I don't want to hear it again. I dropped it. You should too. Leave it alone. And then he tries to play the saint again, like he's just looking out for her and it's all for her benefit. He's the angel. You know I say this because you are very important to me. Maybe no one tells you this, but I'm the first to tell you. And I always stick with my words. That's what I have to say. And I'm sorry if you hurt, but I had to say it. What a fucking hero. There's better ways of saying it. And apparently you'd already had this conversation the night before. And everything was settled then, but you just keep going. And she said, you didn't have to say it, lol, but okay, whatever makes you feel good. And now the demon comes back out again. Fuck do that. Beep attitude. I'm telling you, if you keep doing this, I'm trying to be understanding, but you give me beep disrespect. Answer, I'm done with you. Fuck off. This mumbo-jumbo nonsense. Like, it's the episode of SpongeBob with the sailor words, basically, and he's censoring it in the text. It's so awful. And she goes, just remember, you brought this up, you started, I told you I wasn't talking about it anymore, but you're pushing it, I don't know what else to tell you. She is trying so hard just to move on from this. Like, just give it up, just stop. Why does he keep going? Just stop. And then he drops another extremely mean, nasty insult, saying, no wonder your friend left you and your exes left you. What a huge piece of shit, just a horrible thing to say to anyone, let alone the person you are dating. And then she just goes, ouch, yeah, fuck you. And then he comes back with another confusing head scratcher. I was ready to drop it, but you keep fuck give me bitch, just stop now. What am I reading? What is that sentence? Oh man, oh brother, this guy stinks. And then he's like, ooh, that wasn't nice and I'm sorry. So he has an immediate change of heart within 2 minutes. And then he's like, he goes full apology mode here to try and save this, even though it's unsalvageable. This is where the relationship should end 100%. He goes, I'm sorry for being an beep. I should have never said that. That was my fault. I really apologize. And thankfully she shoots that garbage down. I really don't want to hear from you. Good night. And then he tries again to go really sweet talking, like, oh no, it's all a misunderstanding. Baby, I'm really sorry. That part I said, I didn't mean it. I'm really sorry. Anyway, baby, I'm so sorry. I should have thought more about your feelings, and at that time I wasn't thinking in that part I said was really not nice, but I love you. So he signs off with yet another completely incomprehensible, dumb, stupid text. But at least there was no censoring in the last part. He didn't use any foul language that needed to be, censored, because he's a classy guy. He wouldn't want any of those yucky words being uncensored in these texts. But yeah, as far as I can tell, she is planning on leaving him, according to the comments, I think. She said she's not going to give him another chance to show this side of him, which is good, because this relationship shouldn't continue past this point. That right there is the kibosh on it with the things he said about this. She didn't do anything wrong. She was just talking about a hypothetical. If she was to try a drug again, it would be shrooms because it's the only one that seems even somewhat interesting. But she even said multiple times she didn't want to, and she wasn't planning on it anytime at all, really. And this guy just had this crazy overreaction to it. So yeah, huge weirdo, big cringe guy. That's about it. So yeah. It's been a little while since I dropped some hot, steaming, creepy text messages on all of you, and I think we were long overdue for some more. So coach called me off the bench and I'm about to provide. But something a little different here. The text messages I'm going to show aren't like the standard weirdo, unhinged, lunatic type behavior. But I think it's something that a lot of people might be able to learn from. So to give a little background, the poster here, she mentioned that she had gone on one date with this guy and knew him for like 2 months, and the date didn't go super well. And then we fast forward to this interaction that we're about to cover, and the reason why I think this is a teachable moment is because I feel like this is something maybe a lot of people do without realizing it's not a good idea, and there's actually hints of old Charles in these text messages here, deep in the flavor profile of these embarrassing texts we're about to go over. I see myself staring me in the mirror when I was but a wee lad, a young man. The very first time I got a girl's number that I was interested in, I was giddy. It felt like I had just won the Super Bowl, and I couldn't stop texting her, even when I wasn't getting responses, which is a big no-no. That is a huge, unforgivable sin. You don't do that because it's annoying. And sometimes if I didn't receive a response after my like 4th text in a row within a like 20-minute period, I'd just be like, oh man, shucks, she hates me, zoinks, I blew it. And then I'd still send like another 3 texts. And I know I mentioned this before at one point, but sometimes I'd get so like desperate and like begging for a response that I'd send her little ASCII art of stick figures. It's so bad. Actually, I was worse than the guy in the messages we're about to cover, but his is floating around, and I really think it's important that people realize that that's just not how you should communicate with anyone. Not even just someone that you're interested in, just anybody in general. No one likes to just be pestered. So let's begin. I am believing right now you might be my kryptonite. Need to hang out more, but I'm pretty sure you're my kryptonite. I'm good with anyone, and they will probably be my best friend once they are done. Just what I'm used to. I don't really know what that means, if I'm being honest. What do you mean, she's your kryptonite? It's supposed to be cute and romantic, but I don't really get it. That's kind of like an insult to her. Like, look, you're bad for me. You literally poison me. You make me sick, is basically what that's saying. It's not really that romantic, but I think he's trying to mean it in like a sweet way. But anyway, she says, sorry I can't talk right now, I just got my son from school, give me a second. Which is totally reasonable. She's giving a response letting him know that she can't really properly respond to whatever conversation's trying to be started from this cold open. And he goes, okay, sounds good, enjoy your time with them please. Cody is about to get home, and then we're gonna go play some skee board, and I'm drinking, and then sends a picture of the beverage. He must have been butt-chugging that Miller Lite there, because then things really fly off the rails. Feels kind of weird being in Wichita Falls. I love it though. Let's have a good time. Can I call you? I miss you already. Sorry to call, just wanted to talk to you. I'm guessing he tried dialing her there and didn't get a response. I don't want to be one of those guys that just be passionate about anything, but in the instance I was passing about you, there's a couple things in society that you go through. I don't know what type of Confucius wisdom he was trying to drop there. There's a whole lot of words in that vomit, and none of it translates to anything in that sentence. I don't know what was even said there. That is a real head-scratcher. Where's life and just live, but nothing truly measures to you meeting up and having a good conversation. I like you. I like you a lot. My friends coming from all destinations have a party tonight. I hope you're there. I hope you have school, please deem that necessary. Please deem your boy necessary. I love our conversation, but I'm probably the best dude you ever know. Big red flag. Anyone that identifies as a nice guy or the best guy you ever know, hey, probably not gonna be the best guy you ever know. Yeah, I'm not gonna beat around the bush here. If you're tooting your own horn, that horn's gonna be stinky most of the time here. But me saying that, I don't know. But you are a princess to me. Sorry to text you so much as I'm not a texter. Do you need to call me? I'm there. I'm leaving Cheddar's now, about to hang out with one of my friends. He's meeting me here. Heart. And she finally responds saying, I'm sorry, I have class in a minute. I'm trying to rush through everything quick as can be. Again, totally understandable. She has already said that she is busy. So it's probably not a good idea to just fucking flood her phone with all this spaghetti that's fallen out here. So let's break this down. He's clearly very excited. And there's nothing wrong with being excited. Being excited's great, but maybe dial it back when you're not getting responses. He talks about loving their conversation. Brother, there's no conversation except for the one you're having with a ghost right now. There's nothing happening in these messages. You are speaking to yourself. To me, it seems like he started panicking when he wasn't getting a response in a time period he felt was acceptable, so then just kept sending more and more text messages on top of it, just bombarding her. And then he sent another picture of, I believe, them out and about. Another thing is, I don't think just sending a bunch of pictures is a good idea either when you're not getting responses. That makes it seem very desperate. Just let this sit for a bit. Just let it ruminate. Let her marinate on this and get back to you when she's not busy. You don't need to keep sending these text messages, which is a lesson that I and many others have learned. You don't want to just keep texting endlessly if you're not getting responses. There's this unspoken rule, I suppose, about, double texting or the forbidden jutsu of a triple text. Of course, it's mainly a meme, but there is some real logic behind it. If you're texting with someone and they're not really responding, it's not really a good idea to just keep pressing that. Either they're not interested, which is fine, it happens, or they're busy. And in either one of these cases, sending more text messages is only going to serve to make things much more uncomfortable and worse all around. Girl, be you, that's all that I want, but I do want to see you. And then sends this creep shot of just two women at the bar they're at, two older women. And then he goes, so Cody and I are about to take these ladies home, laughing emojis. I swear to God, two old ladies about to take us home. I want to see you. You in class? This is just really weird. This is bizarre. Where is this coming from? Why are you taking a photo of just two random ladies claiming they're trying to take you home or something? Shit's getting a little loopy here, and it's still not hitting. She's still not responding because, again, she has already explained she has class. She is busy here. Now, the way he's texting makes me feel like he's drunk at the very least, because it's almost incoherent, like babbling, saying nothing. It's so many messages to say nothing. Like, what do you mean? I hope you deem your boy necessary or whatever. Like, what is going on? Like, this is... You shouldn't be texting right now. What you need is some Pedialyte and just rest and recuperate. So she finally responds again saying, I'm in class, I'm sorry. I don't know what the prize that needs to be paid. Just really love the time we had. Might be getting soft. And she's as confused as I am. What do you mean, lol? Me sure who I am is the price I mean. I appreciate the explanation, Yoda. Again, what? Huh? Another picture of some beverages here. We're about to move. Dude thinks he is prettier than me. What the fuck? I told me I can pull more chick than you, bro. Had me cracking up. Just move to the side and have fun, bro, is what I told him. And then sends a picture of a song that he's listening to. I don't know what's happening in the lore right now. He's treating these text messages with this girl like it's his diary. Or like he's live blogging his life right now in real time, live tweeting in these texts. It's baffling. I also think he's making it up. Like, I don't understand what this is supposed to be. You won't believe this. Guy said he could pull more chick than me? Ha! I couldn't stop laughing. It reminds me of that really shitty advice that people used to preach about, convince a woman that you're desirable by making it seem like other women are vying for your attention and time. Like, fake a phone call or something. Pardon me, madam, I'm getting a phone call. Yes, Stacy. No, the pussy appointment was canceled. We can have sex another night. I'm busy. It's boys' night. I'll call you back. Alright, goodbye. Sorry, This girl, she always wants to fuck me. But anyway, what was your name again? Like one of those things where it's like, oh wow, this guy's got so many girls are interested in this guy. I mean, maybe I should be interested too, was the line of thought. That's what those text messages scream to me, that he's just making that whole situation up right there. Because what random dude's gonna come up saying that he's prettier than him and that he can pull more chicks than him? Just a total stranger. That's not like a human interaction that would ever happen. Some dudes smell like ass. Laughing emojis. My goodness. Why are you telling her this? What is the response even supposed to be? And then he just sends like another random photo of someone playing pool. Presumably him playing pool, I guess. I don't know. He just keeps sending all these fucking photos of beer, two old ladies, him, beer, pool. Why? It's not a picture book. It's supposed to be text messages, like a conversation, but there's no conversation. Stop fucking texting. And he just says, haha. And she responds again, finally, after a bit of a drought, saying, that's nice. I mean, yeah, that sums it up. Like, what are you supposed to say to this? Just, oh, cool. Oh, interesting. Nice. And then he goes, not without you. We are at Deep Eddies. My goodness, lol. You are going to be able to come out? We will come pick you up. Am I going to be able to see you before the night over with? Like, he's going full caveman mode with a lot of these statements here. I think he has drank a lot over the course of the evening. And still, after all of these messages, nothing of value was said. It's just been weird. You've sent 30 messages to almost no response ever. So let the lesson be learned here to not just keep texting into the void. If you're not getting responses, don't force it. It's a bad idea to just keep sending text after text after text. This fool. And then she finally responds and she just gets right down to business. I don't want to be rude, but you knew I had class. I made it clear. I've been here an hour and a half and you have texted me 33 times compared to my 5 times. This was all... I bet a lot of you watching this thought that these text messages had come over the course of like a day or something. An hour and a half. Jiminy Christmas. I'm sorry, I do not want to pursue this any further. You don't understand boundaries or when someone isn't answering. Be safe. Have a good night. I think that is a very understandable, reasonable, and respectful way of just getting this across here. He clearly did not respect boundaries or respect that she was busy, so I think this makes complete sense. And he says, I won't text you anymore, nor will I ever message you again. Have a good life. My apologies did not mean any disrespect. I hope you climb mountains. I truly like you. Glad you disrespected me now so I know. I get it. Wow. And then that emoji, I don't really know what that emoji's supposed to convey here for the emotion. Told me that you would keep me updated. We have a good life. And then some more hand emojis. I mean, it could have been worse, I suppose. Yeah, anyway, just wanted to share this. Hopefully you learned something from it. That's about it. See ya. Normally when I cover text messages, it's about really creepy guys doing unhinged things to women through texts or videos, whatever. Today's a little different. This is only like the second time I've covered a story like this, where a guy encountered a woman, and it was very different dynamic of things that happened. However, what I want to talk about here is actually the way that this guy handles the situation, because I actually think it's a masterclass in how to communicate effectively. I'll bring you up to speed on the lore that lead to these text messages. The original poster here on Reddit is a man who has been talking to a woman for a couple of hours, and then he receives these messages. Hi. I've been thinking about you all evening and can't get you out of my mind, handsome. I know it's a little early to say this, but I have such a special feeling about you. And he goes, oh wow, that's really nice of you to say. I appreciate that so much. She says, you're welcome. While you've been away, I even told my mom and my friends about you. It truly takes a rare kind of guy for me to be able to say those things so quickly about. I feel so lucky and honored that the stars aligned to have us match when we did. You feel too good to be true, and I want you to know that. And he's blushing here like an anime character. Oh gosh, wow. Gee willikers, goodness gracious. That's super nice. Thank you. Out of curiosity, What is it about me that stands out to you? So, again, they have only been talking for a couple hours in total, and she's already basically planning their wedding. She's telling all of her friends, her family about this guy, despite not knowing shit about him. Prior to this, they had only talked about their pets. At least that's what he said, mainly their pets. So this is a lot to take in here. She's basically creating this Hallmark movie out of nothing. Off rip. We only started talking a couple hours ago and only shared a few texts back and forth so far. So I'm honestly just curious what caught your attention about me, because that's very, very sweet of you. This may sound crazy, but call it a sixth sense if you will. I can read people like a book, and I already feel like you, I've known you forever. I don't know if you believe in past lives or not, but if stuff like that exists, I had a weird feeling about 30 minutes ago that we knew each other in a past life, and I have to get to the bottom of where and how. Damn, that's really crazy. It really is, though. Thank you for finding your way to me. And he just goes, haha, you're welcome. When asked what about him exactly drew her to feel so strongly about him so quickly, she says that it was a sixth sense. Basically, it's her superpower. She's one of the Avengers, and she has the ability to find her soulmate after only communicating with them for a couple of hours. She's like a vibe sorceress. She's able to pick up on vibes and figure out who's got the best vibes for her, and falls in love very quickly. Nothing here seems malicious, and in a vacuum, it's pretty sweet messages, but these are messages you'd expect from someone that you are actively dating or someone you have known for a long time and are progressing to that stage. This isn't something that you would immediately dump on someone's plate after only knowing them for a couple of hours. That's a lot of food to digest there. That's a lot to put in your pipe and smoke here. There's a lot happening way too quickly. I hope you don't think I'm crazy. I don't normally say stuff like this to guys, but there's something different here, almost like spiritual energy. I've been waiting for my soulmate for years and kept getting led astray by the wrong people, and now I think I know why. We have to meet ASAP. I'm so fucking excited to see what out energy in person is like. If it's this intense over text, I can't imagine how incredible IRL our dynamic will be. She's definitely seeing these text messages through a different lens here, because I'm not picking up on any type of electric energy. I'm not getting butterflies in my tummy just reading it. I'm not getting the tingles. This is two very different levels of intensity and excitement. She's out here full of jubilation, like she just won the lottery. Meanwhile, the guy's energy is the same excitement you get over finding an extra chicken nugget in your 8-piece box. Like, it's very different. But he still says, when are you free? I'd love to meet tomorrow, but I have therapy late afternoon and then work at night. So how about the day after? That'll probably work. I can let you know for sure by tomorrow at some point. How about I take you to dinner? I would love that. I'm so looking forward to the first meeting in our beautiful story, handsome. Aw, lol. You're so sweet. I have to go to bed now for work tomorrow morning, but let's talk more tomorrow. Absolutely. Sweet dreams, sweetheart, and you'll be in my dreams. He says, sweet dreams. I hope you have a good night's rest. The next morning rolls around and it's a totally different ball game, sports fans. Good morning. How's your morning going? She says, good morning. Fine, and yours? Now he's the one with a lot of energy now. Great so far. You're hitting him with the Tony the Tiger. Great. Just had a meeting with my boss and got some pretty positive feedback, so I'm pretty happy about that. And she just one-words him. Gotcha. He immediately picks up on the tonal shift here and says, is everything okay, lol? Yeah. Why do you ask? Because you're being more short than you were yesterday, which is fine. I'm just trying to see if you're okay and if you need anything. This guy seems like an actual sweetheart, but this guy seems like a fucking peach. This guy seems legitimately like a nice person. And she goes, I appreciate that. Well, to be honest, I was in my feels this morning when I woke up to no good morning text from you. That's an odd thing to expect from someone who is legitimately still a stranger to you, but even still, he apologizes, saying, oh, I'm sorry, I woke up later and had to rush to work. As soon as I got to work, I had the meeting with my boss and then immediately texted you after the meeting was over. I'm really sorry for the misunderstanding. Yeah, it's cool. I just thought you were perfect for me and then this happens. And he's as confused as every other person on the planet would be. He says, I'm confused. Did I do something wrong? It's still pretty early in the morning. It's not like I went most or even half of the day without texting you. She then says, love is about prioritizing other person and you clearly prioritize your job and your boss over me. I'm going to let that ruminate for a moment. I'm going to let you go ahead and marinate in that text for a second. And now we'll proceed. He says, you could have sent a good morning text to me too, you know. let's just pause there. Love is about prioritizing other person, and you clearly prioritize your job and your boss over me. Yes, as he should. You are a stranger. What do you expect him to do? March in there up to his boss, spit in his face, and be like, I quit. I'm gonna go travel the world with this girl I talked to last night. We're gonna go around the world in a hot air balloon, damn it. And you can't stop me anymore. I don't need this job. I'm out. What an extraordinarily selfish and downright evil thing to ask of a partner. Especially one that's not even your partner. This is, again, a mysterious stranger to you. They haven't even met yet. I hopped on Apex Legends on stream the other night and ended up queuing with a random squad mate in 3 consecutive games. I knew more about that motherfucker through him just on the open mic than these two know about each other. And it's not like I'd send him a good morning text, but like, she's making this huge issue about not receiving a good morning text in a timely enough fashion for her expectations. He still sent a good morning text, mind you, when he didn't need to, since again, they're not dating and they really don't even know each other at all, but he still sent one. It just wasn't fast enough for her, and that right now is a massive problem to her. That is shocking. Why does it automatically have to be me going first? Plus, to be honest, we barely know one another. I don't think it's fair that there are already these expectations. Super reasonable from him. And he's right. If it really is a huge deal to her, she could have been the one to send the good morning text, and then he would have known and been able to respond when he could. She then says, dude, you are the man here. You're supposed to be winning my heart. That's your role. I don't want to chase someone. I deserve someone who will romance me and win me over. Waiting to text me until you get to the office shows your priorities are not what I thought they were. What the fuck? What are you talking about? He's already won your heart over by just existing, it seems like, since you... Oh, I'm farting. Yeah, that's how much I think of that statement. I rest my case. I'll let my asshole do the talking on that one. Not much more needs to be said there. He then responds, I'm sorry, but this is crazy. We are practically strangers and you're already making demands. I do romance whoever I'm pursuing. I'm a very romantic guy. I did text you early this morning, but because it wasn't done exactly the way you think it should be, I'm a bad guy. She then goes on to explain that she doesn't think he's a bad guy, but just doesn't like that he doesn't feel the same way about her as she does to him. She then also explains that the therapist she sees is for her borderline personality disorder, and she explains how that relates to what they've been talking through. And that made a lot of sense when I read that with the way she was acting throughout these text messages. And that is a very real struggle that I always have a lot of sympathy for, and I'm always wishing the best for people going through BPD. It's great that she's trying to get help through therapy, and I'm wishing the absolute best for her with that. What I want to talk about here, though, is how he handles this whole situation. Even before knowing about her BPD, which obviously he didn't since they are completely strangers to each other, he was still being very respectful and communicating effectively. He wasn't being combative or aggressive. He was being a very wholesome individual, and this is just an unfortunate set of circumstances. He responds by saying that he appreciates her sharing her vulnerability, and then says, do you mind if I share something that's bothering me a little bit? And she says, yes, please do. I want to know how you feel so badly. Please open up to me. Well, I'm a little scared that you're already using the word love in regards to us. We are still basically strangers and have been texting for less than 24 hours. And she just says, Kay, should have known you weren't special after all. You're a normie, a basic bitch if you will. Normies don't understand or appreciate love. They will never know what we do. He says, who is we? She says, empaths. I am an empath and feel things more strongly and deeply than regular people, something you clearly don't appreciate and take for granted. One day someone will see my gift and cherish it. He says, I mean, I wanted to take you on a date. If it went well and we were compatible after a while, I was definitely interested in a serious committed relationship, but I do have to meet someone first to know that and hang out a bit first before I make that commitment, which again is a totally understandable thing. And she says, fuck off, bro, you're disgusting. I can't believe I ever saw something in you. You are not the one, you're just another schmuck in a long string of disappointments. Schmuck is a word I haven't heard since the Stone Ages, and I really appreciate that she dusted it off for this message. Schmuck is something that used to make me giggle every time I heard it when I was a kid. I deserve better. Fuck you. You thought I loved you, but I don't, bitch. Don't ever contact me again. We are over. I never loved you. You lost the best girl. You'll never meet someone like me again because you're a normie who can't see or identify a gym. We are not the same. Love is not a lie. You were. You're the problem. Don't contact me again, basic bitch. You repulse me. Bye, loser. It's actually very sad reading these things. Like, this isn't your normal r/nice guy blow up moment where a dude pretends to be a nice person just to try and get laid, and when he doesn't get pussy out of it, he has a meltdown like, I don't love you, you're fat and ugly, and no one would ever love you. I'm the nicest guy you'll ever meet, and you just blew it with me, the alpha male. Fuck you. Get out of town, scram, swine. Like, this isn't one of those moments. It's not her fault she has BPD. But she's clearly not ready for a real relationship right now. She's going to need to continue to get help. Her having BPD doesn't make this hurt any less for the guy who just received this. He's done nothing wrong. And I actually think he is a great example of how to communicate softly, respectfully, and just being a pretty good example of like how to just be a normal person when interacting with somebody else. He also mentioned that he is still currently receiving text messages from her that continue to get scarier and more extreme, which is unfortunate to hear. It definitely sounds like she needs help with this to come up with more effective ways of dealing with her BPD, and hopefully she finds that help she needs. But I thought this was worth sharing, and yeah, that's really about it. So yeah. I have to talk about these text messages. I can't help it. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? I'm only human. These are extraordinary in like the creepiest way imaginable. I usually don't like to do the same type of content back to back, and yesterday I covered some text messages as well, but I can't resist the urge. It calls out to me. The void beckons, and I have to speak on these. So, the context. A lady had an old coworker whom had been fundamentally stalking her for quite some time. Her and her husband had dealt with this individual for a while, and decided to share some of the unhinged messages that they had been sent by him. There was a lot more that happened besides these text messages, but that's what was shared and what I want to go over. Buckle your seatbelt here, because this is about to be a pretty intense ride. This is a good read from cover to cover, if you like lunacy. Hey, I hope your weekend has started nicely. I apologize it took me a few days to feel like I could say this. No need to apologize, goober. I get it. Had to muster up the courage here. Hype yourself up in the mirror so that you could really let the demon out. You need to break up with blank, and then agree to be my girlfriend, with intentions to be my wife. And let me explain why. So he's basically acting like a car salesman here, trying to drive the hard bargain. It's like an episode of Shark Tank. I'm seeking a wife for 10% equity in my cock. I have no doubt he also had a PowerPoint presentation prepared for this, but unfortunately maybe it didn't attach, so it didn't send. I can provide more for you than he can. The independent woman facade you engage in wouldn't be necessary with me. I make more than enough money in my job in order to take care of you and provide you with a lakefront house, which I know is a desire of yours. I can provide you the free time that you often post about and yearn for to engage in your favorite hobby, ceramics. All I ask for you is your devotion in return. I know I am perhaps not physically desirable to you, which is why I plan to compensate with the lifestyle you often talk about wanting to provide yourself. You can really feel the fedora through these messages. It smells of such potent desperation. It's also very interesting that he calls attention to not being physically desirable to her. It's an interesting negotiation tactic. Excuse me, madam. I know you may not be physically attracted to me, but here's how I can make up for my face looking like turbo ass. I know if you could be given an opportunity, you would take it because you mostly desire to be able to experience freedom in life. It is something painful for me knowing you could have everything you wanted if you would simply agree to be my wife in the future. I could also pay off your student loans and car loan, which I know you've expressed desire to have those completed in the next 6 years. I could do that today, with a simple call to your loan companies. All I need from you is to immediately move to my property and begin your new life with me. Jesus Christ, that is concerning. I can pay off all of this. Just come join my cult. And I promise I am not a rapist or a creep. Nothing screams good guy quite like needing to clarify that you are neither a rapist nor a creep. I mean, would he lie to you, right? I mean, that's what a normal person says, like, by the way, miss, I am neither rapist nor creep, so you should feel safe around me. Now come live on my property immediately. I am not going to imprison you, or shackle you, or enslave you to a basement. Well, alright, breath of fresh air. I was a little concerned about that, but now, luckily, he explained it. Now there's no reason to feel alarmed anymore about that being a possibility. You are free to continue your friendships with your womanly friends and your relationships with your family. I would never take this from you. I would never force you into sexual situations you do not want to be in. I know it must sound so strange hearing this, but I feel I must make it clear to you that this is a dream opportunity that will not harm you in any capacity other than dropping your current life, boyfriend, and job, and immediately begin pursuing your hobbies while we plan our wedding. I've got a sneaking suspicion that this guy would absolutely shackle her and imprison her in the basement. But I imagine she wouldn't be alone down there. There's probably quite a few other victims that he has in that basement. This is a fucking unhinged creep. Now, it's important to mention that this isn't just some random person sending a bunch of nonsense. This is a very credible threat to the safety of this woman. So, according to the husband, they had been dealing with this individual for quite some time. And they even went to court over it. There's a lot that this individual has done, aside from just these creepy messages. And it had been a huge problem for them for a while. This is a really dangerous person to be around. I hope you're not overwhelmed. I know we have not spoken very much in the last 6 years we've known each other. I've always known you were supposed to be mine as soon as I met you on March 3rd, 2018. He's got that shit marked in his calendar as the most important day of his life. I've never once inserted myself into your life. I haven't pestered you for your phone number, and we have an occasional chat on Facebook now that we're not in the same office anymore. I've been satisfied with this level of acquaintanceships for years, and I understand that you have been with blank since 2012. I understand you were committed to him prior to us meeting, but blank, you must agree that we have something special. We share so many interests, and we were always able to have great natural conservation. When we would attend lunch together during the workday, it was an effortless and relaxing experience to share those 40 minutes with you once or twice a week. And don't think I forgot how often you paid for yourself, a trait I knew was you trying to assert your independence in front of me. Oh, the delusion. Oh, the delusion is sickening. That's an example of something I've talked about quite a bit on stream, where no matter what, there are people that will view things in an entirely different lens that make no sense. Something as simple as her buying lunch for herself was interpreted, misconstrued by this fucking menace as her trying to assert her independence in front of him. So it's just like this honestly scary situation where something totally innocent, like just buying yourself lunch, has now completely been lost in the sauce of this dude's noodle, where he thinks it was all about him. It's so weird. I knew then you were trying to show me that you'd love for someone to take care of you. I'm ready to settle into a family-oriented life, and I recall you saying you would have children if you had the financial capital to do so. I know you desire to be a mother, despite your current male partner not wanting them. You would make a wonderful mother to our children. I would ensure you had everything you needed to live the family life of your dream. Wow, I just had a voice crack. That was a big voice crack, too. This man's serial killer stalker Riz just attacked my vocal folds. And I know you love to travel. Before we settle down with children, I want to take you to your dream destination list. I've kept track of all the places you've mentioned over the last few years that you'd like to visit. You always share such a beautiful landscape photos. He's like the Zodiac killer here. I bet if this wasn't over Facebook Messenger or whatever, it would have been sent via postage, letters in the mail, using cutouts from magazines for the letters. I want to take you to Japan, to Thailand, to New Zealand, to Greece. Yah! That's like that classic one. Oregon. Yah! Fucking the Dean scream. And after that, we'll go to the opal mines in Australia for your dream ring, and then I'll take you to all the waterfalls the islands have to offer. How does this sound? My proposition is serious. You know I am a serious man. I'm turning 45 years old this year, and you are turning 32 years old. It's time to start making decisions about our familial life and how to enjoy our remaining years. Please know I have never offered any woman this proposition. I have a very secure career that I enjoy and will do whatever it takes to maintain in order to have your companionship, sexual prowess, and motherly raising of our children. I will give you everything you desire, as long as you agree to be my wife and raise our children. A very strong negotiation overall. I wonder how she'll respond to this in the Shark Tank. Hey, blank. I wanted to acknowledge that I received your message. It's really long though, so give me a minute to read and respond. That feels more like she's very afraid and is doing this out of pure obligation, like buying time, to figure out how to handle this without setting this guy off on like some kind of rampage, like this violent outburst. which is smart on her part for sure, to like very gently navigate this because it's a scary situation having a stalker like this. Good morning. I am still awaiting your acceptance of my proposal. I look forward to hearing from you. Oh god, he's dropping the hammer now. It's all business, and he's not taking no for an answer. Good morning, goofball. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't know how to respond to this. I don't mean this negatively, but I honestly don't know whether or not to take this seriously. What I mean by that is I don't know if this is a joke or not. You said this is quite out of left field, so I'm not exactly sure how to respond to you. This proposition is very serious. I have to make serious considerations about my familial life as I'm ready to establish this. I know I can offer you much more than your boyfriend can. It has been 10 years, and he still has not provided you with those things you desire most. I am a better provider than he is, and I will ensure your needs are met. Please, I would appreciate you taking this seriously and giving me a date and time I can come collect your items and move you into my house. It's in northern blank. This guy is already convinced that it's a yes, and now he's just trying to figure out when he should schedule the college hunks hauling junks to come collect all of her shit to move in with him. So now she fully responds to this. Surely you have to understand I can't agree to something like this. My life is my life because I've built it this way. I am not a damsel waiting to be rescued. While yes, I would enjoy an easier path to achieving the lifestyle I want, I don't mind working for it, and frankly, I'm insulted that you perceive my career to be a choice I'm settled to because I have not found the right man. Most importantly, it's another level of egotistical to assume I would dump an 11-year relationship in an instant for a fantasy pipe dream of yours. I mean this seriously. I'm not interested in your proposition. Trading my life for materialistic items and to be breed mare is not something I ever intended to do with my time. I don't know you. You don't know me. You have a limited glimpse into my life through my social media posts. What you see online represents a fraction of who I am as a person. We were co-workers and nothing more. I made this very clear to you in the years we worked together. I was in my relationship prior to even working with you. Yes, you're right, you never crossed that boundary, but instead you spent the last 6 years building a fantasy and dream life in your mind in which you think I would trade my value as a human being for a lake house and free time for pottery. I'm not sure how you became convinced this would be enough to make me leave the life I have built, but I need to assure you it's not. Please do not ask me this again. I am not interested, nor will I ever be interested in being your wife and child bearer. So she lets it all hang out here. She pulls no punches. She sets the record straight and says it right to his face. Well, as close to his face as anyone will ever come through text messages here. Breedmare. Now, there's no need to insult me. I am not propositioning you to live in solitude and to raise children alone. I want a family. I want you to be my wife, specifically, and I want to build a family with you. I thought you were intelligent enough to understand how great of an offer this is. Buddy, she is intelligent enough to recognize that her life would be in danger saying yes to you, you absolute maniac. You fucking weirdo. She is extremely smart to say no to this, as pretty much everyone on the planet with any level of survival instincts would. You're weird. You're dangerous. You're creepy. You're a stalker. Everyone's going to be saying no to you. I know you're primarily saying no because you don't find me physically attractive. If I looked better than your boyfriend, I have no doubts you would emphatically tell me yes. I didn't know you were so shallow. Oh, now he's going full nice guy mask off mode, even though he wasn't really putting up a nice guy persona in the first place. You would learn to be physically attracted to me just as I learned to be physically attracted to you after you gained 60 pounds. You look much better when you are staying in the 150 to 200 pound range, yet I never said a word to you about the fact that you gained so much weight because I realized you were perfect otherwise. I realized your looks didn't matter when your soul is what I wanted to spend time with. He probably wants to suck her soul out of her body like Shang Tsung. Like, this is a threat to her life, and she is absolutely making the right call, trying her best to get away from this guy and shut it down as hard as possible. It is simply a trade for a house and free time. Oh, the barter method, of course. I am offering you the very thing you constantly talked about and post about, the freedom to enjoy your existence without stress and anxiety. There would be more stress and anxiety with you because you are actually dangerous. It'd be a constant, like, guessing game of whether or not she's going to survive through the night under your roof. This guy is fucking scary. And he makes it seem like so simple. Simply in return, we are married and have a family together. Yeah, I mean, that's small potatoes. That's nothing. That's no big deal. It's a great trade. You get a house and you get the weirdest man in the world. A win-win. You would learn to love it because our home together would be so peaceful and joyful. However, perhaps you're right, and you are not the woman I thought you were. You're attracted to a low-life loser who filed bankruptcy at 25, hid his credit card debt from you, You pay his bills while he job hops because he doesn't know how to stay at a job for longer than a year. You cried constantly at work and had panic attacks not knowing where the money was going to come from. And what did you do? You worked a second and third job to make ends meet while he piddled away at putting in applications and not manning up to do what he needed to do. Why are you choosing this weak boy over me? I am mature, career-oriented, family-oriented, and I am a devoted partner. I would never force you into a position to make up for my shortcomings like your boyfriend does. I am better than him in every way, and yet you still choose him. It is baffling to me why young women like yourself want to be with the losers and drug dealers who will end up beating you silly. Keep in mind, this is coming from the same worm, the same specimen, who had to assure her he's not a rapist and wouldn't imprison her and shackle her. I think this guy is the one that most likely would beat a woman silly, because he has all of the red flags you could possibly fucking imagine about a man. I'm going to fast forward through the second paragraph meltdown here, which is just a teary-eyed tantrum with him shaking his fist saying, I thought you were different. You must stay with him for his penis size, because I can't even begin to understand how someone as intelligent as you are would turn down my offer. A luxury life free of stress turned down for a life of second guessing and financial strain? Why? What good reason do you have to turn down my offer? He immediately goes to wiener size. Just another huge insecurity here. So I'm guessing not only is he physically appalling, but he also has a tiny cock. She says, I'm not even going to entertain that message with a response. I don't owe you any explanation about why I'm still with my boyfriend even after all his shortcomings. I don't owe you an explanation on anything, ever. I've been wondering all evening what it could possibly be about me that you're so repulsed by that you won't accept the offer of a lifetime. Yeah, it's such a mystery. What about this perfect gentleman here and scholar would she find repulsive? I'm racking my brain and I got nothing. I have no idea. What could she possibly not like about him? He's such a doll. My friends are also appalled. Why aren't you accepting this? Yeah, I'm sure he has so many friends. He contacts all his friends. He's like, guys, she won't just give up her life and move in with me. What's wrong with this bitch, huh? What's going on? Is she crazy? She's crazy, right? It's not me. I'm not the problem, right? I didn't think so. It's definitely her. It's everything you have ever wanted, and you're turning it down still? Why? You owe me an explanation after I spent years ensuring I had enough to offer you. That's really scary. If this guy's whole motivation for, like, working hard, grinding, and, you know, getting money is just to try and act on this fantasy delusion with a stranger, that's unhinged. Well, all of this is unhinged, but that one's even wilder because, again, they're not close to each other. They're still pretty much strangers. I'm starting to get very upset by your actions. You have one more chance. Anything less than an emphatic yes will not be accepted. So he tries to, like, bring it down, an ultimatum. Last chance. This is the last ball game pitch here. It's got to be a home run yes, or I'm out. I'm sure this will come as a huge surprise to all of you watching this, but she still said no. In the most polite way possible, fuck off. I don't owe you shit. I'll be blocking you now. Have a great rest of your life. I waited all day to see if your little conniption would resolve and you'd come back begging me for this opportunity. But I see you've decided to block me on Facebook, but too stupid to also block me on Messenger. At least for now. He's now fully in his villain arc. He put on a trench coat, sunglasses, and he's doing this while typing. I see you've blocked me on Facebook, but not Messenger. For now. I cannot believe I allowed myself to become entangled in the idea that a beastly fat woman such as yourself would actually choose to settle down with me. I can do so much better than you, and yet here I was offering you a way out of your wretched life. We both know you're settling with blank because you're too lazy to lose weight and make yourself more attractive, and you've trained him to be okay with your fat. I was willing to let your fatness go to the side because I knew if you had free time, you'd lose the weight and retain a more attractive figure for our relationship. I'm embarrassed I've spent so much time preparing for this moment and was wasted on a fat whore who doesn't know when she has struck gold. I truly thought you were different, that you actually wanted a nice man to be with. I see I was dead wrong. And she says, you can literally suck the juices out of my fat blank and choke on them, you absolute troglodyte. So at least there's a happy ending here. It ended on a positive note for both parties involved. So this guy did end up doing the quintessential nice guy sign off, that standard song and dance of, you know what, I'm better than you. I should have never wasted my time with you because you're fat and you're a whore and you're chunky, you're chubby, and I hate you. You're tacky and I hate you. You're fat and I'm a nice guy, the nicest guy you'll ever meet. You blew it. You blew it. It's on you and you should feel bad. I'm not crying, you're crying. That's where the text message journey comes to a conclusion. Like I said, there was a lot more outside of text that he did, but I only wanted to focus on the texts. Hopefully they don't have to deal with this individual anymore going forward. And yeah, that's about it. See ya.